And I actually watch a lot of your videos all the time. And I was telling Shawn, I said, take a look at some of Fred's videos. It was yesterday, right? You were looking at his video. I was telling him to take a look at some of your videos because they're very inspiring and thought-provoking.
Is this you too, Ben?
Congratulations.
No, it's family. You wouldn't? All right, shit. He shot my documentary.
So, and I appreciate y'all, man. Like, I don't read too much, you know, but I know, like, the guys that are out there pushing and fighting and trying to get people to see things, you know, the right way. I know that y'all been doing your thing, man. And I know people try to, you know, quiet y'all down and stuff like that. And I couldn't tell you, man, guys like yourself.
The stuff you're doing, it's something you can apply to your life. So.
Barbershop conversation, guys. So I'm gonna review each fight and from yesterday, the co-main and the main event, and let's talk about Shawn Porter and Granados. You know, whenever a fight ends, if I don't have the ability to do a fight review, I always go to my brothers in the LDBC, Dante, and I listen to their fight reviews, and just out of respect, you know, like all of us do, we go search and see what they thought of the fight and comment on it, and you know. But I'm gonna disagree with Ticket at Town. I think I should be talking to Town tonight. It's Sunday. So I know on Sundays we usually talk. And I've been traveling and all day today. And haters, don't make this into like I hate him. Well, we just disagree, you know. But I'm gonna break down this fight and then talk about their comments, and it causes for great conversation. So Shawn Porter, I thought won 5 of the 6 rounds, and I only gave the guy 1 round because it's hard to give a guy 6 rounds in a row, right? You know what I'm saying? Just because, you know, human nature. But Shawn hit Granados with a right hand and fractured his left hand, you know, and he had to fight the second half of the fight with a fractured hand. And like Shawn, I've competed my entire life and I've never sustained an injury, but I've been in a game where we've had to endure, in college, where we've had to endure an injury, probably from our best player, our most impactful player, our team leader, whatever the case may be. And when you get in situations like that, you just want to win. You don't give a damn what it looks like, what people think. Your job is to win. And I've never experienced a fractured bone, but what I have experienced is, you know, turned ankles, jam fingers. I'm not comparing it to, but I know when I've been hurt or injured, I find a way to make it through the game. And I thought a fracture is similar. Compare a fracture. I know some of us may not have had a fracture, but I know some of us may have had a chipped tooth. A fracture is similar to those nerves open on your chipped tooth. You understand what I'm saying? Where the air hits every nerve and it fucking drives you insane. And the same thing can be true about a fracture of a bone. You know, there's a sever there, and any type of compression will send shock waves down your whole entire arm. And I've had the misfortune of chipping my front tooth in a basketball game, and I had to endure it for the whole game. And when I say it's painful, I mean, you don't want to quit on your teammates, but the thought runs through your mind, and it takes that internal fortitude to finish the for me to finish the basketball game. But I thought Shawn Porter did an incredible job. I thought it was a hotly contested fight, and I genuinely believe Shawn would have stopped him if he had both hands. Shawn's body attack was rounds 4 through 6, 4 through somewhere in there. It was really good when he was using his footwork, and he was it was some hellacious body shots. And you guys know my love for the Porters, And so I forgot to disclaim that, but you guys know that by now anyway. That's definitely no secret. But I just want to be clear. I thought he would have stopped him, and you guys know I'm very honest and forthright. I am unabashed to ask Kenny if I have any questions about Kenny, with Kenny, about Shawn. I will never hesitate to ask him. One, because I care, and two, because you have journalistic responsibilities, whatever the case may be. But relationships definitely trump my journalistic responsibilities. Just be candidly clear. Now, I want to fast forward to about this Errol Spence issue. Now, I think Errol Spence is good. I don't think he's great yet. I think he has some special talents that other fighters don't have. But I will say this: no way on God's green earth is Shawn Porter afraid of Errol Spence. And it's not that they don't want to fight him. I was trying to think of a parallel or an analogy to compare with you guys, and I'm gonna use college as an example. You're in your senior year of college, and let's use me. I was a history major, right? I'm not my senior year gonna go be a biology major, right? I've already gone through the gamut. I've already taken my 100 level classes, my 400 level classes. I've done my thesis statement, and that can be said true about the Porters. They've gone through their thesis statement. They've taken their 400 level classes, albeit Berto. They've done their thesis statement with Granados. So they are in line to fight Keith Thurman, which I think is great for boxing. That has been the best fight that I have seen in the past 2 years. Anthony Joshua and I forget the other guys. And Klitschko was pretty damn good as well. I'm talking about upper echelon. I know we may have some smaller fights, but I mean, those two fights, I mean, you pick. You like big guys, big, strong guys, or do you like, in comparison to them, small, athletic, agile guys with great skill? That's the reality of it. So what I want to say is, when you already accomplished something or have earned that right, I want my privileges. That is my right, and I think they are absolutely 100% right. I believe this: when you have earned the right to do something, you have earned the right to do something. And part two to that is, part two. Let's just stop using parts, because I've run out. Danny Garcia. No, I believe Amir Khan, Danny Garcia. Yeah, I would say those two at 147. Let's see, are the two biggest paydays, right? If you were to fight Amir Khan in his country, or if you fight Danny Garcia at Barclay, you're going to make a lot of money. That's just, and I know Amir Khan has never fought in his country, but I think they're going to end up doing some stuff over there because it just makes sense. You need to monetize and capitalize on that. Now, no more parts. But Danny Garcia, probably, he sells out Barclay by himself, I believe. He will do great numbers in Philadelphia. I'm not sure what it's called. When I was a kid, it was called the Spectrum. Charles Barkley and all, Moses Malone, and all those guys. I don't know what they call Philadelphia's arena is called now. But Danny Garcia is a big payday. Errol Spence is not a big payday. Errol Spence is not a big draw yet. And it's not even about that. But this is just secondary facts. But they have earned the right to fight Keith Thurman again, which has become basically Shawn Porter's rival. And they've come in together. You understand what I'm saying? That is his contemporary in terms. I would say the truth of the matter is Errol Spence is just below him. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, although they're all around the same age, Errol Spence is 28, if I'm not mistaken. Shawn Porter just turned 30. Keith Thurman is the person that he is sought after, and two, because he beat him. And at the end of the day, you want to avenge that loss. I believe that in a fight like that, when you lost between Shawn Porter's body attack and Keith Thurman's left hook, why would you want to put yourself through something like that again? And I believe Shawn Porter and Keith Thurman deserve that much respect if they can make that fight happen. Because that was, I mean, rounds 9 through 12 was some of the most gut-wrenching, I mean, 9 through 12 took everything out of both of those competitors, Shawn Porter and Keith Thurman. When you look at Keith Thurman's corner, he goes back to the corner going east-west when he should be going south. Shawn Porter is giving everything he possibly has. And I was there live at Barclays Center. And by the tide of the fans, you can tell who was trending and who wasn't trending. Shawn Porter looked fresh. I mean, as fresh as you can be. He gave everything in that fight. And Keith Thurman gave everything in that fight. And he won. I always tell Kenny and Shawn, Keith Thurman won that fight by 45 seconds. It wasn't 2 rounds. It wasn't 3 rounds. It was moments in the fight that I thought made an impression on the judges. And I think right now Shawn is in position in terms of his conditioning, in terms of where he at just as a person, and definitely his boxing ability. I think he beats Keith Thurman in a rematch. And I'm not going to give why, because I don't want Keith Thurman to listen to this video. But when they sign that contract, I'll tell you guys why I believe that Keith Thurman, I think Keith Thurman should be the underdog in that fight. And he won't be, so I plan on making some money that fight. I think Vegas will have Keith Thurman as a favorite in that fight, just because, practicalities. And so Ticket in Town thinks that, and I'm going to tell you this, and Kenny alluded to this, but I was in the fighter meetings. I had the fortunate opportunity, it's pretty cool to be in those fighter meetings for Showtime, because you have Brian Custard, Paulo Malignaggi, Al Bernstein, and the voice of Showtime. I forget his name. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. And the guy who does the scoring. I know his name, but I'm drawing a blank. The round by round scoring for Showtime. And it's you guys aren't privy to that conversations that goes on, but because Kenny alluded to this to the press, I'll tell you this. Paulo Malignaggi and Kenny and Shawn were having dialogue, right? And they're literally sitting across, not a round table, but a rectangle table, right? And they asked them every question, what you guys are saying. And literally, I'll be real genuine and honest with you guys. What they're talking about is what people on a couch are asking questions. Like, really, Brian Custard, Paulo Malignaggi, they're not asking, they're asking real-time questions about Errol Spence, like his conditioning, the father and son tandem, the pros and the cons of it. So you're getting these type of conversations and or dialogues. And so it would be like a conversation, if I can compare it to a conversation Ticket and I would have, a conversation Town and I would have, a conversation 78 and I would have if we were sitting down watching a boxing match, right? And Kenny and Shawn and Kenny and Paulie, and Paulie doesn't hold anything back, so he basically asked about Errol Spence, and he says, you know what? And Kenny's answer is, we're gonna take it back to the 80s. These 4 guys need to fight each other. And that's at the end of the day, that's what's gonna happen. Can you see what's happening this year? Can you see what's aligning for 2018? It's no secret what's aligning in 2018. There's gonna be a 4-person tournament. You guys are saying what happens to Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, as I said, is gonna be that little boy in the window while watching all the kids downstairs run up and down, play freeze tag and hide and go get it, downstairs in the neighborhood, because Al Heyman is not going to give that guy a fight. Al Heyman has been building PBC for 3 or 4 years now. Forgive me for not remembering. I'm not giving Bob Arum all the power at 147, which is the most powerful. I mean, heavyweights, obviously. Outside of heavyweights, is the most powerful division in boxing. And well, I mean, people are gonna say Canelo's division because he draws the most money, but I'm just speaking of, just overall. It is the second most powerful division in boxing, and there's no way Al Heyman will give Bob Arum a fight at 147. So, I mean, Terence Crawford is on the outside looking in. There's no secret why these guys can't get fights. While Timothy Bradley retired, albeit Jesse Vargas is now with PBC because they can't get fights. And Bob Arum knows this. And there's nothing Bob Arum can do. There's nothing, Golden Boy can do. I was debating whether I should say their name or not, but, tonight I will. There's nothing that they can do about it. Sidebar, if Soto Karass is a main event fighter on ESPN, you know where Golden Boy is headed, and that deserves a whole nother video. Now, we are headed for 2018 and 2019. Now, we're only getting 2 fights a year out of these guys. I mean, let's be clear. Al Heyman doesn't want his fighters fighting 3 times a year. It's very apparent. It's so obvious what's going on. And we will have, in my heart of hearts, I genuinely believe we will have a 4-person race to the top. And once the dust has settled, after Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia take they tune-up fights, starting sometime in June, July, and August, the welterweight division will be as hot as grandma's fish grease on a Friday afternoon. Fish Friday. all my non-black subscribers, every Friday, grandma made fish for us, or your mom made fish when I was a little kid. So, I should say when we were little kids. So as hot as grandma's fish grease on a Friday afternoon, Friday evening, right? And that's what we're headed towards. And if you take a step back and see it from 50,000 feet, it's no reason to think that this is not going to happen. And I'll be honest, if I am in Errol Spence's position, he should be trying to unify the division. He should not be trying to fight guys without belts. He should try to fight Keith Thurman and Jeff Horn. Those are the only 2 fights he should be after. Not unless he has a big payday. I mean, he can do a catch weight with somebody, and because Errol Spence is I guarded him in basketball. He was probably 175. About I was probably on that day probably 160. I was real light, because I had a chance to size everybody up between Broner, Porter, and Errol Spence. Errol Spence is naturally a thicker dude out of the 3 of them. And I would say that about Shawn Porter, too. I even told Kenny, I says, God damn, Shawn Porter's a thick dude. And he's more granite than a Errol Spence. I mean, Errol Spence hadn't had a fight, and Shawn Porter stays in shape year round. So, Errol Spence had put on his I just fought weight, which he still looked good. I mean, but he's not as dense as a Shawn Porter. So, but if I am Errol Spence, that's what I do. I don't worry about the Danny Garcias of the world. Well, Danny Garcia is the highest paying fighter, or Amir Khan. I think those 2 will generate the most money. And whoever gets Danny Garcia wins. At the end of the day, I think that's a $2 or $3 million payday for each of the fighters if you fight a Danny Garcia. Keep it real. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going after the minimum. I don't know what they get paid. I don't ask those questions. You never go in a man's pocket. Who cares? And but I would definitely definitely, if I'm Errol Spence, Shawn Porter's not even on my radar. And I'm not saying that because I'm pro Shawn Porter. I love the Porters. They are my friends. They're my family. My son calls Kenny Uncle Kenny. And I'm not even saying, I'm saying that he shouldn't even be fighting a Lamont Peterson. He should be fighting a Brandon Rios for crossover appeal. He should be fighting Victor Ortiz for crossover appeal. He shouldn't be fighting Lamont Peterson. You guys understand what I'm saying? And once he gets that crossover appeal, win over 10% of that Mexican or Puerto Rican or whatever audience, you know, maybe he should be fighting Luis Collazo or something like that. But he shouldn't be fighting a Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson is not a big draw. He's a master boxer. But now it's about building your brand. All right. And Errol Spence has already proven that he is an upper echelon fighter. I don't know how great he is yet, you know, because, I mean, keep it 100 through rounds 7 and 8. Although I picked that fight perfectly, I said Errol Spence would stop. What's the guy? I said Kell Brook's body will break down. And I don't know what round, but I said in the second half of that fight, his body's going to break down. That was an even fight through 8 rounds. 7, 8 rounds, it was even. And I'm willing to bet that the scorecards alluded to the same thing. So Errol Spence needs to be building his brand. No disrespect to my Mexican subscribers, Latin subscribers. He needs to go beat up on 1 or 2 Latin fighters, similar to what Manny Pacquiao did, similar to what Floyd Mayweather did, similar to what, well, we can stop there. Those are the 2 biggest names of our era. You need to go be a Mexican assassin, a Latino assassin, a Puerto Rican assassin. That's what Errol Spence needs to be doing. And then go unify the division. You know, the WBO belt is Bob Arum's belt. We know that. I don't think Jeff Horn. I think that Terence Crawford, Jeff Horn fight is definitely more realistic. And I say that because Bob Arum knows that in order to compete with PBC, which rhymes, you got to have your best horse. And if he loses that WBO belt, he's not getting it back. And you will see, honestly, you will see Terence Crawford versus Lucas Matisse, you know, because Golden Boy and them, they need to fight. They need to find fights for Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford literally has no fights at 47 right now. I mean, he might fight an Aaron Martinez, a Luis Collazo, you know, Samuel Vasquez. You know, he's probably a journeyman now. You know, fights of that nature. But he's not fighting the 4 horsemen. He's not fighting an Andre Berto. You know, those things aren't happening. And it's bad, and Terence Crawford knows it. He outgrew 140, so he's going to 147 for potential, I wouldn't say greener pastures, because you can't get more greener than unifying the damn division. That's as great as it can get. Now it's his time to make money. And if I'm Terence Crawford, fuck the best fights. You know, I know we want to see them, but it's a business before it's a sport. And I understand it. I accept it. The realities of it, Anthony Joshua probably will fight 2 more times before he fights Deontay Wilder, so which pushes it to 2019. And so those are my thoughts. I probably can go 30, 40 minutes more, but I out of love and respect, I always listen to Ticket's videos after a fight. I always listen to Towns' video after a fight. I always listen to 78, Dante, Boxing Ego, Santi Walton, everyone else in the LDBC. I listen to y'all videos post-fight, and you know, and most of the time I agree with y'all. This time I disagree. I thought it was a hell of a fight. If I have a fractured hand, as if I had a chipped tooth, I just want to get the fuck out of there. I just want to find a way to win. I don't care what 78 thinks. I don't care what barbershop conversations think. I don't care what Town thinks. My job is to win right now. And I have no doubt in my mind he would have stopped him. I know it because I saw it. I can see Granados' face and body. I know seeing it on TV and seeing it in real life are two different. They are 2 different things. But when you can see the body language, just the give up, like Granados had that give up in round 5. Like he was like, I can't win the fight. forgive me if it's the wrong round. I'm gonna rewatch this fight a couple times this week, and but he had a lot of give up in him. You understand what I'm saying? And I'll be real. If I thought Shawn Porter was ducking Errol Spence, I would talk to Kenny about it. But no way, no how. I mean, I would talk to Kenny before I would talk to you guys because I love the Porter. So I'm not, no way. No fucking way. And we're going to learn a lot who Errol Spence is against Lamont Peterson. If he walks through Lamont Peterson, then he's that good. Lamont Peterson is coming in with a game plan. You guys understand what I'm saying? Similar to Marcos Maidana, Floyd Mayweather, he's coming in with a game plan that is going to take away something from Errol Spence, and it's going to give Errol Spence hell. All right? I'm not saying Lamont Peterson is going to win. I'm not predicting that fight yet. I'm just saying it's not going to be a Chris Algieri, Errol Spence kind of fight. Lamont Peterson is a master boxer. He won't allow that. All right. Lamont Peterson will dictate angles, will dictate tempo, and great portions of that fight. Because keep in mind, see, if I'm fighting Errol Spence, this is another video, but hopefully you guys get to this point of the video. Errol Spence is a catch and shoot fighter. There's nothing wrong. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to compare. All right, I'm not comparing athleticism. I'm not comparing who they are as fighters. But when you have power, when you can use angles, and you know the guy is a catch and shoot type of fighter, you can do what Deontay Wilder did to Bermane Stiverne. Bermane Stiverne is a catch and shoot fighter. As you saw in the first fight, he catches everything. He don't parry, he don't slip, or parrying is catching. But I'm just saying, they don't slip punches, and similar to Errol Spence, they walk forward. They keep their back foot planted as a shock absorber. You understand what I'm saying? And they catch. And Bermane Stiverne thought he could do that yesterday against the baddest man on the planet. And you can do it with power, and you can do it with volume. Manny Pacquiao was really good at doing both. You understand what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather was really good at doing it in his second half of his career with doing it. Well, his first half of his career, I apologize, was really good at doing it with volume. If you're a catch and shoot kind of fighter, So, but anyways, man, I just want that to be clear. There's no way, and I'm telling, and I will tell you guys in private, because you guys have my phone number, the same way I would tell you in public. No way. I'm telling you guys, 2018, 2019, you will see the top 4 guys fighting each other once we go through what needs to happen. And if I'm Kenny Porter, I do the same thing for Shawn Porter. I fight Danny Garcia. I avenge my one loss. I mean, I thought Kell Brook cheated that fight, and I didn't know the Porters close then. I mean, I'll disclose, I did a full page article on them in the newspaper, but I did it in terms of father-son relationship. And the only belt that Floyd Mayweather didn't have was the IBF belt, if I'm not mistaken, right, at that present time. So, no, I think Manny Pacquiao had the WBO belt. I apologize. But, so with that being said, I thought Kell Brook cheated that fight. I mean, I'm there. I'm probably in the 7th row, and I thought Kell Brook was. I mean, it was so blatantly obvious. I mean, it was a disgusting fight to watch. The motherfucker was holding like 100 times, man. It was nauseating. And you guys gonna say, well, Shawn Porter was holding last night. Shit, I would too with a fractured hand. And I saw it. And I will say this, he does have a fractured hand, because after the fight, his hand was immensely swollen. And when I say, I mean like 3 times the size of his right hand. So I just want you guys to know that. I saw it with my own eyes. And so that's just how I feel. I'll probably talk at the ticket tonight, and he and I will have this conversation. It'll be fun. I think that'll be a fun conversation. I don't talk to excuse me, Town. I'll call Town. Ticket and I don't talk as much, but we always in each other's comment section, and the respect is real, the love is real, and but we just disagree on it. And I'm previewed to the information, and since I have a relationship with you guys, I can share with you guys the facts. You understand what I'm saying? So, anyways, barbershop comments. This is a fucking 30-minute video. I missed y'all. I ain't spoke to y'all in a long time. I mean, consistently, I was doing some quick videos and stuff because, I had to do it on the move. Anyways, man, barbershop conversations. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Talk to you guys soon. Hey, I just want to remind you guys, In Your Corner, a movie I directed on Floyd Mayweather and Sam Watson, is out now on Vimeo.com. In Your Corner, click the link in the description box. And I would genuinely love and appreciate you guys' support. And don't hesitate to leave a comment and let me know what you thought of the film. And again, I appreciate you guys' support and enjoy the video. Peace.